Say again. No, I thought early we actually did a lot of good things defensively. Offensively, we struggled to make shots. I think that took a little wind out of our sails. We got deflated with that. It's kind of the three areas we talked about, and we didn't minimize those areas. The paint, they scored 16 in the paint. The fast break points, transition, I think they had 17. We turned the ball over, which I think fueled some of that. So then the turnovers. So it's like, those three areas, I think some of that's controllable. The offensive rebounds to agree, that's controllable, but you can't give up 21 for 36 points. I think you're going to win a game. It's my first time, first year being around him. So I'm sure it's happened in the past. I will give their defense credit. I think you always have to. And, your best player struggles, but I think he'll figure it out and he'll work his way through it. He's too good of a player on both ends. I think it's temporary. He had a tough night, obviously, but I expect him to bounce back. Well, we've been trying to play three bigs, and some of that is reintegrating two key components from last year. And that dynamic is difficult for a lot of people. It's choppy minutes, and you never get really a rhythm. The decision was made. I wanted to see TB with that starting group. We were going to give it a handful of games and see how it goes. I think he's still kind of working his way back. But he was a starter last year on a playoff team. So I think he's got the ability, to impact that starting unit. But he just needs a little bit more time, a little more seasoning with the other four guys on the floor. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought he did well. I mean, we were switching quite a bit. And I thought he had a number of good possessions, even on their smalls. Moving his feet, staying in front, defend without fouling. You have a conception of a guy, and then all of a sudden you're around him, you see him. His size, his strength, agility, all those things are terrific assets. His ability to switch, and we can downsize, play him at the 5, gives us a lot of flexibility with that.
All right, we'll go to Zoom. Josh?
Wes, how much of your decision to go with the two-man center rotation revolved around Daniel Gafford's performance early in the third quarter in the last game?
Not much at all. This is something we've been talking about, thinking about, trying to give TB a chance with those starters. He was always kind of coming in a little later with the second unit. We wanted to see how he responded and how it worked. He had a tough night, but that's not, to me, an indication to overreact. We'll give it a stretch and see how it goes. Hopefully, that 5 will figure it out and start to coalesce. But I think it's in fairness, he's out of rhythm and needs to kind of get back into those long stretches in the first quarter.
To what could Gafford have been a better matchup against Adams and Adams's offensive rebounding tonight?
You could argue that. I can only speculate. I don't know. It's one thing to say, hey, it didn't work, but if it had, we would say, hey, TB did a terrific job. So potentially, yeah, it could have. But I think it's a collective thing. Not one person alone is going to stop Adams from going to the offensive glass. It's got to be a mindset with the other 4 guys that they have to hunt and hit him. He's leading the league right now in offensive rebounds. So I think he had 10 tonight. So it's not just on TB.
I want to make sure I heard you correctly because it sounds just a little bit low. Did I hear you correctly that you plan to go with this grouping for several more games at least?
With the 5, yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Chase?
Wes, apologies if you answered part of this question already, but is the decision with Gafford, is it purely performance based? And if so, what could he be doing better?
No, I don't think it's purely performance based. I think this is more about TB in this instance. I think I'm very comfortable with what Gaff brings, and I got a feel for that, and he can impact winning a number of ways. I want to see it out of TB, and trying to play the three bigs it became very choppy. I know that the guys didn't like it. I didn't necessarily like it, but we had to kind of get him to a certain threshold before we could say, all right, he can play long stretches. Now that we've eclipsed that, there are still minute limitations, but he's cleared the hurdle to be able to run out there and play. Why not start him and give it a look with that starting group and see how it goes.
And you mentioned Steven Adams is good at offensive rebounds, but 10 for even him is a lot. Was it a size advantage that you guys couldn't overcome, or is there something you guys could or should do differently to make sure that it's more of even an average night for him?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, once again, it's a mindset. It's not on one guy to do it. That ball gets batted around. A lot of those are 50-50 balls. We have to find a way to come up with some of those. But I don't know schematically if there's any more you can do. It's just more of an effort and a mindset, and it's just something that we got to be aware of. There has to be urgency to get to him.
Kareem.
Hey Wes, I'm just curious. What was your message at halftime? They did seem to come out with a lot more juice in that second half. From I guess from looking from afar.
Well, I thought we did. I mean, I made that point after the game. Our effort, our energy level, our pace. I thought our physicality, to a degree, in that third quarter got better. The message was just, hey, we're down 22. We're on the other side of it. Obviously, we saw it the other night. We had a team down big, and they crawled their way back into the game and won it. So that was kind of like the mindset. We cut it to 11. So it was within reach, but obviously you couldn't get over the hump.
And apologies, it was tough to hear a little earlier if I'm repeating, but I want to ask about John real quick. Obviously, we talked to pregame about the things that ways to slow him down, but is that a guy who's just sometimes he just makes plays outside of what you guys are trying to do, and sometimes it doesn't matter what you throw at him, or did you wish that you were able to do certain things against him that you guys just didn't do?
No, I think we could have done a better job of keeping him out of the paint. Some of the pick and rolls we switched. He made tough threes, contested threes. I think 4 for 8, which is above his average. But in general, you can't just play a guy like that the same way. He's too good. He's too dynamic. And we saw that, especially in the pick and rolls. He gets downhill and he's crafty with the finishes. He's able to read the roll and drop off to the big, kick out, get his teammates involved. So we can do a better job at the point. I think we can do a better job at shrinking the floor and try to throw more bodies at him. But he's a tough cover.
Thank you.
Josh, did you have another?
I did, thank you. Coach, how do you assess Spencer's play over the last few games, and is there anything that needs to be done to get him to be a little bit more, to help him be more productive?
Well, I mean, it's not just Spencer. I mean, we collectively have struggled. So it's, I think it's a little bit of everybody. I think he can, be more aggressive and attack early. I think he was aggressive in that third quarter, which I like. I think he's got to do that and continue to do that. Get downhill. That's where he's at his strength. So we just have to find ways to kind of turn the ball loose, get him going early. But, it's a collective thing where, we're all kind of struggling. We're struggling to make shots, even the ones that we generated that were, good looks. We had 27 assists and 35 field goals. So ball movement was solid. I was pleased with that, but we missed a ton of easy looks.
I understand you'll go with the 2-man center rotation. Is your intention to go with a 9-man rotation overall the next couple games?
Yeah, in general. I think, that's we'll settle into that, but at this point, anything's on the table.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the time we have for Coach tonight. Appreciate you.
Go straight to Zoom, Matt.
Sorry, couldn't hear you. Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. Kyle, what did you
Turn it up.
Kyle, what did you feel like were the biggest differences in this game?
I think we couldn't stop Ja. I think he really set the pace for them. Did a great job in pick and roll, and then what we did with our coverage. He just exploited it left and right. That dude's a special player. We tried to stay in a drop with him, and that didn't work. And then we started switching. And, I thought we did a good job, honestly, of just being in strength to make him show bodies. But, he just started shooting over the top. So, we can just tip our hat to that. And then, having 21, 22 offensive rebounds, that's the game right there. So,
How does playing with a two-man center rotation, no matter who is in it, make things easier or any different for the rest of the people in the playing rotation?
I mean, it's a little bit easier. Obviously, playing with a two-man center rotation more than three, just for rhythm and continuity purposes. I think that's the number one thing. So, I think that's just the biggest thing when you play two-man instead of three.
Thank you.
Chase.
Hey, Kuz, 10 of the offensive rebounds came from Steven Adams. I know he's a big challenge, literally, but what could you guys do differently going up against him to try to prevent that from happening?
I mean, he's a big boy. I think after the first 8 minutes, he had about 8 rebounds. So, that was tough. And then, in certain situations where you try to put two bodies on him, then somebody else comes in to crash in. So, they definitely played harder than us. And, with Steven Adams, that's what he does. It's what he's done his entire career, crashing on boards, big body. It's tough down there. But tip their hat to them. They played harder than us, and I think the 20+ offensive rebounds just tells that story of who wanted it more tonight. So.
And what do you think led to the slow start offensively for you guys? 15 points in the first quarter.
I mean, partly me. I had bad turnovers. And then we just didn't make shots. On the night, I think we only had about 12 turnovers, and that's not bad. But, we just didn't make shots, missed a few at the rim. And I think that was just the biggest part to, starting out slow. So.
All right, that's all the time I got for Kuz tonight. Appreciate you. Now we can go straight to Zoom. Go ahead, Josh.
Spencer, what did you feel like was behind the rough start in the first quarter, on both ends of the floor?
I mean, not making shots and also their offensive rebounding, I think, giving them all them second chance points. So it's hard to have both those things happen.
How does having a two-man center rotation impact, no matter who's in it, impact the rest of the people on the floor?
I mean, I feel like most teams have two centers. I think obviously our rotation is ever evolving. Our roles are very fluid. And so to that respect, like we're trying to figure out exactly who we are.
How do you feel about your performance in the last couple games, and do you feel more comfortable in the offense now than you did, say, a couple months ago?
No, I mean I didn't hit shots the last couple games. I mean, like I said, with a team that's got pieces coming out, coming in, you know, everything evolving. Just try to go out there and do what I'm told, in whatever spots that I'm in.
Thank you.
Chase.
As one of the veteran players on this team, one of the starters, as you take stock of these last like 5 losses and 6 out of the last 7, what do you think have been kind of the common problems you guys need to get over?
I mean, we're going down big, you know what I mean, and trying to fight to come back. It's not a recipe for, you know, winning, you know what I'm saying, or any level of consistency. It's easy to play when you're down, you know what I mean? Like when you're down 30, yeah, you can play free and do all that other stuff because, like, I mean, the other team naturally takes their foot off the gas pedal. Like it's fool's gold.
Christos.
Hey Spencer, hope you're doing well. What kind of shakeup this team needs from your perspective to turn around the season?
Accountability.
And from your perspective, and as one of the most experienced guys and as one of the leaders, do you feel responsible to make a step up, be more vocal, or be more step into a bigger leader, be more leader on and off the floor?
Off the floor, obviously, yeah. Like you want your daily habits to speak for you. You know, it's an interesting situation. Spoke up a little bit early on. You know, it wasn't necessarily welcomed. And so, like I said, I try to do what's asked of me. At the end of the day, everybody has a role to play. And it's about being accountable in your role and doing that to the best of your ability. It's really all I got.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a couple more. Josh.
Spencer, when you cite accountability, where in what areas and who can be more accountable?
Every single area. So that's top down, right? Like everybody makes mistakes. And I don't just mean players. I'm talking about, you know, coaches, management, everything. Like we just gotta all like own where we're at as a group, own who we are as individuals, go out there and do our job to the best of our abilities, and not worry about the future or what may happen next.
Chase, you good?
Yeah, I guess just as a follow-up to that, do you think there's been an issue with people not being accountable, or do you think generally just accountability is what the team needs to get out of something like this?
Yeah, no, I was talking about generally speaking. Like this wasn't me saying like, hey, like Raul Neto is not accountable. That's not what I was saying. I was saying like typically to pull yourself out of a funk in life, right? Like you have to look in the mirror and be like, hey, like I'm in a funk right now. Let me diagnose why I'm in a funk. Let me, you know, do the things that get me out of this funk, right? And when you're playing a team sport, everybody has a role to play. Everybody has a job to do. You know what I mean? Like we don't need Trez being our best 3-point shooter, for example, right? Now, obviously he doesn't shoot threes, but this is a little bit of hyperbole, but to not put it anything too direct, because I know you guys will write what you write, but like that's what I mean, right? Like we just have to go and do our jobs to the best of our abilities and not, you know, worry about the noise.
All right, Spencer, I think that's it.